Hello everybody, and in this video I'm going to be teaching you how to play Hardrock TFC. Now, I have some experience with this mod. I've made it pretty far, but I'm not, as you can see in the quest book, it says ages. I haven't made it all the way down the list, but I have made it far enough for you to get to the point where you can survive every day and make progress. So the first thing you should know when you start this is that this quest book is going to be very helpful, and you also get another book, which you want to turn into the TFC book, which looks like this. This will tell you everything you need to know about TFC. It'll tell you just basically what the world, like geology, it'll tell you the biomes you're in, the weather you get, the ores that spawn in each biome. As you can see in blaze maps, you see schist, and specific ores will spawn in schist, but that's later down the line. First, you need to know how to survive. Getting started. It's gonna tell you the first thing you should do when you start this mod, and the first thing anybody should do is locate a forest, but also be very careful. You want to keep a close eye on the map and look around. I changed my blaze map to M and the feed the beast map to whatever key that you like. It makes it easier for you to see any, bad things. You need both maps. Blaze maps so you can see the ore structure, and the feed the beast map so you can see the land, so you like water, stuff like that, and enemies. There's a wolf this way, so I want to avoid these wolves. They will tear me apart. Any red, any orange icon on the map will be a bad thing, but on this white, it's a moose. It's not going to attack you, likely not going to attack you. So walk into this forest. I'm pretty sure we're safe for now. Keep a close eye on that map. Some things are very deadly, like you might find yourself a big cat, which is basically like a jaguar or a cougar or something, or a bear. And those are not fun to deal with. So, to start off with, as the book says, you want to collect yourself some rocks and some sticks, and that's very easy. Look on the ground and just right click. And you might find yourself picking up these twigs. Those can easily be turned into sticks just by putting them in your crafting grid. You want to familiarize yourself with your own inventory. These are all locked slots, meaning that you can't use them unless you unlock them at some point in the game. You also want to note that this little bar up here goes between a secondary, this is your offhand, like holding spot, so you can put stuff in here, it's wonderful. In this game, if you carry too much stuff, you will get a condition like encumbered, but I don't think these slots count towards that. I think there's a bug where these slots do not count towards that encumbered, that weight capacity. Anyways, so now that we have the rocks and the sticks, it's now asking us to make a bunch of things like an axe, a knife, a shovel. The things that you will need to make, and if we go to here, will be on this screen. First, go to one of your rocks and then start making the things. I'm going to start with making knives. So you can do it like this, which will get you 2 knives instead of the other way, which you can see up here, which will only get you 1. And if we open up our book, add that with a twig or a stick, and you get yourself a knife. Same with the shovel, axe, and javelin. You want to make these 4. These 2 aren't so useful right now, and you can't even make the wooden crook. You need string, which is very annoying to get. Anyways, so go to your stone, and then make yourself a javelin head. Then you want to make yourself an axe. Then you want to make yourself a shovel. Now that you have the tool heads that you need, go to your crafting grid and throw yourself the head and the stick and start making them. There's a very convenient area in your inventory where these things can go. If you click up here, they can go right here. This is useful so you can minimize space inside your inventory, but it's not the best. If you want to attack something, you want to bring out your javelin and then attack. If you want to chop down a tree, I guess you could go up to a tree with it inside this, but it's still, it's not, it feels better if you just have it in your inventory and then you start chopping. Ooh, on my map, there is a skeleton here, but that is in one of these caves, so those don't really matter. Cephalerite. These little ores on the ground, you want to make a mental note. See, right here, spider. These spiders come out of little burrow holes, and if you find a spider, you want to kill it, because there's a small chance that it drops string, and string is very, very useful. At least one piece. If you got one piece of string, you can get as much string as you need. So, unfortunately, that did not drop any string, but that's completely fine. I can always find another spider burrow. See, right here. Some kind of tarantula. If it's near your base, you can always just break these. No big deal. And you get some XP from it. So you want to make a note of where these ores are. These cephalerite, that is a copper ore, which is very useful, at least early on, because you can't make a stone pickaxe. You have to start with copper, which is right here, and you have to make a copper head, and copper makes everything early on that you need and is very useful later on. Oh, it's getting nighttime, but you don't have to worry about nighttime. Make sure that there's nothing evil near you. These are skeletons, so they're underground. One very good thing about this mod pack is that mobs don't spawn above ground, so you don't have to worry about creating a house on the first day. It could be helpful, but you don't really need to. So I would go to my map and add a waypoint that says copper, or cephalerite, but I don't exactly know how to spell that. So now, anywhere you go, now you know that's where copper is. This is going to be very useful later, so I recommend it to anybody. As you can see, if you look down, right above my XP bar to the right, I have a water gauge and a food gauge. Food is rather easy to get. Go over to these little wild plants, not specifically barley, but any plant that looks like this, that's sticking out. You want to get some of this. And what I do, but you don't necessarily have to, is throw this up here. As you can see, it says 11 days. If you throw it up here, it now lasts for 2 months and 29 days. So it lasts longer, and you get straw. Straw is useful. And you can eat this. As you can see, there's a green bar that says how long it lasts, and the white bar is how much you have in that stack. So if I eat this, you see my green bar on the bottom right go up. And that little white particle, that was because I ate a new food. The more new foods you eat, the more hearts you get. I have 3 hearts. Don't worry, that doesn't mean I can only take 3 hearts of damage. That just means that right now I'm not in the best shape. You want to get more hearts. If you look down there in the bottom left, you see your body. If you take damage on your feet, and you get like your feet are red in the bottom left, then it'll be harder to walk. You'll get a status condition. If you get red on your hands, it might be slower to mine, stuff like that. But if your head turns red or dies, then you just flat die. Meaning you could have 20 hearts, but if you take all that damage to your head, you could die very quickly. Now, another thing that's good to know is that to find fresh water, it should say it in the book somewhere. To avoid saltwater, look for rivers, lakes, and freshwater plants like cattails. So to know what's fresh water, look for plants like this. However, that does not mean the water will be good for you. If I get it this time, I can show you. I got exhausted. You're going to get that whenever you drink, I think, fresh water, but I'm not entirely sure. You could also get other status ailments, like poisoned. You could get nausea. And you could also get a different status ailment, which, if I do get it, I'll show you it, but you don't want this status ailment. Anyways, now both of my bars are relatively full. I usually like to go directly to cattails and then get the water directly from the source, like their source block. For some reason, I feel like it leads to less negative effects on you. Eat up. There's not much you have to worry about early on. Oh, if we go here, I'm getting pretty close to the bison. I want to stay away from those. You want to stay near a freshwater source, but don't make that your permanent home. What I recommend to anybody early on is, first off, let's see how close we are. We are at X 4000, Z negative 1000. Closer to the equator, you're going to get to warmer temperatures, farther away, colder temperatures. And this will affect the things that can spawn in the area. Meaning the closer to the equator you can get is different crop spawn. And that right there is a bison. And you could also get fruit trees, like apples, pears, cherries. It's wonderful. Oh, tetrahedrite. I think another copper. If we go here, right here, melts into 5 millibuckets of copper. So you want to go to your map, copper. There could be copper under this location, but that's going to come at a later point in time. What I recommend for anybody starting off is to find an ocean. The first time I started this game, I set up a base very, very far away from an ocean, thousands of blocks away. I had to move and relocate everything in my inventory to make myself closer to an ocean, because you can't make certain things without an ocean, without salt water. You could make salt water, but it's not easy finding salt. Okay. So let's get moving. You don't necessarily need to start killing animals. I don't believe they respawn, so be careful. If you're setting up a base somewhere, don't indiscriminately go around killing everything. If there's enough of them in the area, I guess you could, but it's not recommended. I need to go find an ocean. That's going to take a little bit. I have to search around. This isn't something that you need to do, it's just very useful. So I'm going to be looking around for an ocean, and I guess I'll get back to you when that happens. I haven't found an ocean yet, but as you can see on my map on the top right, there's a red dot right here. And that is a grizzly bear. You want to stay far away from these. I'm not even going to go near it because these things will mess you up. I once got one shot by a grizzly bear. One shot. I didn't even know he was there. I was running and then I died. I looked on the mini-map. There was a grizzly bear over all of my stuff. They're not to be messed with. So try to circumvent. Also, you're going to see things like this on the map. A thatch house. Ooh, it's surrounded by bison. Let's see if we can go around the bison. But these thatch houses, they have villagers near them. Villagers, early on, aren't very useful, but later on can be useful depending on the type of villager that you get. Here's the villager that I was talking about. He's a miner, which is nice, but early on I can't quite use any of these, so it does not matter. Will these attack me? It doesn't appear like it, but they could. Those are not noises I like to hear. I want to make it inside the thatch house so I can... Oh, he's making his way closer. Nope. I'd stay away from... Okay. So those bison are inside the thatch house, which... Why? Why would you do that? I need a little something from the house, and then I can leave you alone. Is there another thatch house anywhere nearby? Absolutely not. There's also things called large snakes that you want to stay away from. What I'm looking for right now to find the ocean is a river. Rivers, I think in the book, always lead to oceans. So if I can make my way down here to these bodies of water, I might be able to find something. Here's another thing that I want to show you all. This tree right here. Let's take a look. Red apple. A red apple tree. Oh my goodness. In my first playthrough, I couldn't find any of these. Any trees that were not specifically for wood. What you want to do when you find one of these trees is to go right underneath it, and then right here, this branch. You don't want to cut this part, you want to cut this branch. And this one as well. This will net you a bunch of fruit leaves. Barley. For right now, I can get rid of the stone knife head, and I guess the straw. You can always get straw. You want to get all these saplings. This is an incredible source of food. You want to leave that there. It seems like I can only get 2 saplings from this, but that is perfectly fine. Any amount of sapling is better than none. On my search for the ocean, I got the nausea effect from drinking from this cattail. So, it's not all good. So I finally found a river. At last. Right here. You have a lake running directly into a river if you see there in the bottom middle. That will likely lead you directly into an ocean, but the problem right now, the problem that I have, is that I don't have enough inventory space. Oh.